Before I begin, I want you to remember one thing: the longest relationship you will ever have in your life is with yourself. Yet, we often forget to nurture it. We seek love, validation, and happiness in people, in achievements, in perfection. But what if I told you that everything you're searching for is already within you? This is not just a message, it's a wake-up call. A call to stop looking outward and start looking inward. A call to love yourself first, not because you're perfect, but because you're worth it. Let's talk about what it truly means to love yourself through the lens of pain, resilience, and transformation. Inspired by the powerful words and journey of Muniba Mazari, let's begin. Self-love is not selfish, it's survival. In a world that constantly demands more of you, your time, your energy, your emotions, it becomes essential to pause and ask yourself, when was the last time you gave something to you asterisk, not to your job, your family, your friends, or even your dreams, but to your soul, your inner peace, your well-being? Most of us grow up believing that self-love is indulgent or egotistical, that prioritizing ourselves means neglecting others. But the truth is far more powerful. Loving yourself is not an act of arrogance. It's the foundation of emotional survival. When you begin to love yourself, you stop seeking validation from the outside. You no longer wait for someone else to tell you you're enough. You begin to understand that your worth isn't tied to your productivity, your appearance, or the number of people who approve of you. Self-love is about recognizing your value when the world chooses not to see it. It is standing in front of the mirror with all your flaws, scars, and imperfections and saying, "I am enough, just as I am." That simple act is survival, because without it, we constantly bend, break, and mold ourselves into who others want us to be. Think about how many times you've sacrificed your peace to please someone, how often you've said yes when you wanted to say no, just to be accepted, how long you've worn a mask because your truth felt too heavy to carry in front of others. Loving yourself means dropping that mask. It means standing tall in your authenticity, even if that makes others uncomfortable, because the cost of abandoning yourself just to fit in is far too high. Eventually, it leaves you hollow, disconnected, and drained. Survival begins the moment you choose to stay true to yourself, especially when it's difficult. Loving yourself also means setting boundaries. Not because you want to push people away, but because you finally understand that your time and energy are sacred. It's learning that it's okay to walk away from relationships that feel like battles. It's choosing to stop proving your worth to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. It's saying no, not with guilt, but with grace, because when you love yourself, your peace becomes a priority, not a luxury. You no longer tolerate emotional chaos disguised as love or loyalty. You grow out of the need to constantly fix or save others, and instead, you begin to protect your spirit from harm. There will be days when the weight of the world sits on your shoulders, when your own mind becomes your worst enemy, whispering lies of unworthiness. On those days, self-love becomes your shield. It becomes the voice that reminds you, you have survived every bad day until now. You are not broken. You are becoming. That kind of love is not just tender, it's fierce. It doesn't coddle you into staying stuck. It challenges you to rise from the pain, from the fear, from the guilt. It doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for presence. It asks for effort. It asks for grace. Survival isn't always loud or heroic. Sometimes it's quiet. It's choosing to rest instead of pushing yourself to exhaustion. It's making the bed, eating a meal, drinking water, showing up for therapy, or journaling your thoughts. It's refusing to let self-criticism drown out self-compassion. Self-love in those moments becomes the daily decision to choose yourself again and again, not just when it's easy, but when it's hardest, because that's when it matters most. There is an undeniable strength in someone who knows their own worth. Not because they were told, but because they discovered it. Through heartbreak, through rejection, through trauma, they found a way to love themselves not despite the pain, but because of it. They realize that self-love doesn't mean you never feel sad, anxious, or insecure. It means you hold space for all those feelings without letting them define you. You give yourself permission to be human, to be healing, to be learning. The world doesn't benefit from you being small. It doesn't grow from yourself, hate, or your silence. But when you begin to love yourself, you light up in a way that inspires others to do the same. Your self-respect teaches others how to treat you. Your boundaries show others what you will and will not accept, and your peace becomes a declaration that you are worthy, not someday, but now, just as you are. You were never meant to run on empty. You were never meant to be last on your own list. So choose you not because others won't, but because you must because your survival depends on it. The truth is, when you start loving yourself, everything changes. You speak differently. You walk differently. You dream differently. You no longer shrink to fit. You expand, you bloom, you thrive, and that is not selfish. That is survival. Your flaws don't define you, they empower you. For most of us, this is a difficult truth to accept. We are taught from a young age to hide our weaknesses, to bury our imperfections under layers of silence, shame, or distraction. We're made to believe that to be loved, to be accepted, to be worthy, we must be flawless. But the reality is far more liberating. It is often our flaws, our so-called imperfections, that hold the seeds of our greatest strength. Every scar, every failure, every shortcoming tells a story not of defeat, but of resilience. You are not defined by the mistakes you've made, the people who left, or the moments you fell apart. You are defined by the fact that you got back up, that you kept going when it would have been easier to quit, that you chose growth instead of bitterness. These moments, as painful as they may have been, were not the end of you. They were the beginning of your evolution. Flaws are not roadblocks, they are revelations. They expose the cracks where the light gets in. They reveal where healing needs to happen, and through that healing, you discover power you never knew existed. When you begin to embrace your flaws instead of hiding from them, you shift the narrative. You stop being the victim of your story and become the author. You stop asking, "Why me?" and start declaring, "Watch me." The truth is, perfection is not only unattainable, it's uninspiring. It is in our vulnerability, in our honesty about what we lack or where we struggle, that we connect most deeply with others and with ourselves. Pretending to be perfect builds walls. Embracing your imperfections builds bridges. When you allow others to see your real self, your fears, your doubts, your scars, you give them permission to do the same. And that is powerful. That is where real strength lies. You might see your flaws as something to be ashamed of, but what if they're the very things that make you unique? What if your sensitivity, often criticized as weakness, is actually your superpower, the thing that allows you to connect, to feel deeply, to empathize with others? What if your past failures have given you the wisdom, humility, and grit that success never could? What if your struggles are the soil in which your greatness grows? There's beauty in brokenness, not in the pain itself, but in what the pain reveals, your ability to endure, to adapt, to rise. We are all cracked in some way. But it's through those cracks that we let light out into the world. Think about how many people draw strength from your story, not because it's perfect, but because it's real, because it carries the truth of survival. Because it shows what's possible even after the worst has happened. Self-empowerment doesn't come from pretending you have it all together. It comes from acknowledging that you don't and still showing up anyway. That kind of courage inspires others far more than any illusion of perfection ever could. Your flaws are not limitations. They are invitations to grow, to learn, to stretch into the person you are becoming. Each one of them has shaped your character, sharpened your focus, and given depth to your compassion. There is a quiet power in accepting yourself exactly as you are, not waiting to be fixed, and not waiting to be more or less of anything, but standing in the truth of your wholeness. You are not a project to be completed. You are a story in motion. Every flaw is a chapter, not a conclusion, And the moment you stop fighting them, resenting them, or trying to erase them, is the moment you start transforming them into strength. Maybe you've been told you're too much, too emotional, too loud, too bold. Or maybe you've been told you're not enough, not pretty enough, smart enough, strong enough. But none of those opinions define who you are. You define that, and you define it not by denying your flaws, but by owning them, by standing tall in the things that once made you feel small, by turning every too much into a reason to rise. There is no one else like you. Your exact mix of struggles, triumphs, quirks, and strengths cannot be replicated. That is not a weakness, that is your power. You are not broken, you are becoming. Every time you choose to embrace your imperfections instead of hiding from them, you take a step closer to becoming the most authentic, empowered version of yourself. So let go of the idea that you must be flawless to be loved, respected, or successful. The world doesn't need another perfect image. It needs real, raw, brave souls who aren't afraid to be seen as they are. Because it is from that place, that honest, open place, that real change begins. That real strength grows, that true self, love is born. Your flaws don't weaken you, they teach you, they build you, they remind you that you are human and still capable of incredible things. So wear them with pride. Let them empower you, not define you, because the most powerful thing you can ever be is unapologetically yourself. You are complete, no one else can complete you. This is a truth many spend their entire lives searching for in all the wrong places. We live in a world that constantly tells us we are missing something, that we need someone else to feel whole, someone to fix what's broken, someone to validate our worth. We grow up with fairy tales and love stories that subtly suggest we are incomplete halves waiting for another person to make us whole. But the truth is, you are not a half. You were never a fragment. You came into this world whole, and nothing outside of you can change that. The idea that someone else can complete you is not only misleading, it's dangerous. It teaches you to place your happiness, your identity, and your peace in the hands of another human being. It creates dependency where there should be autonomy. It builds expectations that are impossible for anyone else to fulfill because nobody else is responsible for filling the gaps you believe exist within you. That responsibility has always been yours. When you believe that completion comes from outside, you hand over your power. You make yourself vulnerable to disappointment, abandonment, and emotional instability. You start measuring your value based on how others see you, how they treat you, or whether or not they choose to stay. But what if you stopped looking outward for completion and started turning inward? What if you realized that the love, acceptance, and validation you're chasing have always lived inside you? Learning that you are complete is one of the most liberating awakenings. It doesn't mean you don't need connection. It doesn't mean you don't want companionship. It simply means that your peace, your identity, and your sense of self do not depend on another person's presence. You can love deeply without losing yourself. You can share your life without surrendering your worth. You can care for someone without needing them to fill a void. This shift in perspective changes everything. It allows you to enter relationships from a place of abundance, not lack. You stop asking, "What can this person do for me?" and instead ask, "What can we build together?" You no longer seek someone to rescue you from loneliness, but rather someone to grow with, someone to complement the fullness that already exists within you. That's the difference between attachment and connection. One is built on fear, the other on strength. Wholeness means accepting all parts of yourself, the light and the dark, the beautiful and the broken, the confident and the insecure. It means standing tall in your truth, even when others don't understand it. It means realizing that your value does not decrease based on someone's inability to see it. When you recognize your completeness, you stop chasing love and start attracting it. not because you need it, but because you are overflowing with the kind of energy that draws real, genuine connection. It's okay to want love. It's human to crave intimacy, companionship, and belonging. But it becomes dangerous when you believe you're not enough without it, when your happiness is conditional, based on whether someone chooses you or not. You lose control over your own life. But when you believe deeply and truly that you are enough just as you are, you reclaim your power. You become your own source of joy. You become unshakable. There will be moments when you feel empty, moments when you question your worth, moments when loneliness creeps in. That's natural. But those moments are not proof that you are incomplete. They are invitations to reconnect with yourself, to sit in silence and listen to what your soul is asking for, to return to the truth that has always been there beneath the noise. You are whole. You are worthy. You are enough. So stop waiting for someone else to validate your existence. Stop looking for someone to make you feel loved, safe, or beautiful. Become that person for yourself. Speak kindly to your reflection. Hold space for your pain. Celebrate your growth. Set boundaries that honor your energy. Build a life that feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. The right people will come, the ones who see you clearly, who don't try to fix you but simply walk beside you. But they won't complete you, because you were never missing anything to begin with. They'll simply amplify the light that already exists within you, and if someone walks away, it won't shatter you, because you will know without question that you are already whole. You are not a puzzle missing pieces. You are not a song waiting for harmony. You are the full composition, the complete painting, the finished story. Everything you need to live, to love, to thrive is already inside of you. You don't need fixing. You don't need saving. You only need remembering. Remember who you are. Remember what you carry. Remember that your worth is not up for debate, not dependent on circumstance, and certainly not tied to another person's presence. You are complete, and once you truly believe that, nothing and no one can ever make you feel less than whole again. Healing begins when you accept yourself. Not when you change who you are, not when you become someone better, not when you achieve something big, but in the very moment you stop running from your own reflection and choose to face yourself with honesty and compassion. True healing doesn't wait for perfection. It arrives when you finally say, "This is who I am, and I am worthy of love, peace, and forgiveness exactly as I am." For most people, the hardest part of healing is not letting go of the pain, it's letting go of the belief that they are unworthy because of it. You carry guilt, shame, and regret like heavy luggage, thinking these burdens somehow define you. You look at your scars as evidence of your weakness, your past mistakes as permanent labels on your identity. But healing invites you to rewrite that narrative. It asks you to stop viewing yourself through the lens of judgment and start seeing yourself through the eyes of grace. Acceptance is not giving up or settling. It's not saying that what happened was okay. It's not about ignoring what needs to change. It's the opposite. It's acknowledging your reality without resistance. It's looking at your wounds without flinching. It's saying, yes, this happened. Yes, this hurt me. And yes, I am still worthy. Acceptance is the foundation that healing builds on, because until you accept where you are, you cannot begin to move forward. So many people try to heal by becoming someone else. They chase distractions, pretend to be fine, or drown themselves in achievements, hoping that external success will erase internal pain. But the truth is, you cannot heal what you refuse to feel. You cannot transform what you don't acknowledge, and you certainly cannot love a version of yourself that doesn't exist. Healing starts with seeing yourself fully, not just the polished parts, but the broken ones too, and choosing to love yourself anyway. There's a kind of peace that comes from no longer fighting with yourself. When you stop trying to be someone you're not, you free up so much energy that can go into healing, into growing, into becoming. When you accept yourself, you start treating yourself differently. You speak to yourself with more kindness. You stop punishing yourself for being human. You give yourself permission to rest, to feel, to begin again. Healing is not linear. Some days you'll feel strong and clear, and the next day you may feel like you're back at square one. But even on the hard days, you're further than you think, because the fact that you're aware, the fact that you're showing up for yourself, the fact that you're trying means you're already healing, and it all begins with self-acceptance. You don't wait to heal and then accept yourself. You accept yourself asterisk in order asterisk to heal. You don't need to fix everything at once. You don't need to have all the answers. You only need to start where you are with what you have. Accept your pace, accept your wounds, accept your past. It doesn't mean you're stuck there. It means you're choosing to stop pretending. You're choosing to work with yourself rather than against yourself. That's where transformation begins. When you accept yourself, you stop looking outside for approval. You stop needing others to make you feel okay. You realize that healing is an inside job. No one else can do it for you. People can support you, inspire you, walk with you, but they cannot heal you. That's your journey, your responsibility, and your power. Think of all the time you've spent wishing you were someone else. All the energy spent trying to hide your truth, trying to earn love, trying to be accepted by others. What if you redirected that energy inward? What if you gave yourself the love you so freely give to others? What if you became your own home, your own safe space, your own biggest supporter? That's what self-acceptance does. It brings you back to yourself. It teaches you to trust your own voice. It helps you reclaim parts of you that you once rejected or abandoned. Healing requires patience. It requires forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. You may not have known better. You may have been doing the best you could with what you had. Self-acceptance makes room for that truth. It holds space for imperfection. It doesn't mean you stop growing or striving. It means you stop hating yourself along the way. You can grow while still loving who you are now. You can want more while being grateful for what is. That balance is what allows healing to take root and flourish. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are not your trauma. These are chapters in your story, but they are not the title. When you accept yourself, you stop identifying with your wounds and start identifying with your strength. You realize that your value was never diminished by what happened to you. It was always there, waiting to be remembered. So start today, not when you lose the weight, not when you get the job, not when someone loves you. Start today, right now. Look at yourself, really look, and say, I accept you, I forgive you, I'm here for you. That moment, as simple as it seems, is where healing truly begins. Comparison steals joy. Embrace your own path. It's one of the most silent but powerful thieves of peace. In today's world, it has never been easier to look into someone else's life, see their highlight reel, and wonder what you're doing wrong. One scroll through social media can make you feel like everyone else is achieving more, loving more deeply, living more freely. And before you even realize it, you begin to measure your worth against someone else's timeline, someone else's appearance, someone else's success. Slowly, that joy you once had for your own journey begins to slip away. What comparison does is subtle, but damaging. It plants seeds of doubt where confidence used to grow. It convinces you that your story is somehow not enough, that your efforts are insignificant, that you're falling behind in a race no one actually signed up for. It blinds you to your own progress because your eyes are so focused on the pace of others. But the truth is, there is no universal timeline. There is no single path to fulfillment, to love, to success, or to happiness. There is only your path, and the more you try to walk someone else's, the further you stray from your own purpose. You were never meant to be anyone else. Your voice, your gifts, your dreams, they are unique to you. That uniqueness is not a flaw, it's a feature. Embracing your own path means trusting that where you are is exactly where you're supposed to be, even if it doesn't look like what you imagined, even if others seem to be further ahead. Life unfolds in seasons, and every season has its own beauty. Some bloom quickly, others slowly, but the bloom will come in its own time. There's an immense freedom in letting go of comparison. When you stop measuring yourself against others, you start seeing your own life more clearly. You begin to appreciate the small victories, the quiet moments of growth, the subtle ways you've become stronger. You stop rushing the process and start respecting it. You realize that progress isn't always loud or flashy. Sometimes it's just continuing to move forward, even when it's hard. It's easy to compare when you only see fragments of someone else's life, but you never see the full picture. You don't see the silent battles they're fighting, the fears they carry, or the nights they've cried themselves to sleep. What you're comparing your real life to is their curated image, their best moments, and that's not a fair comparison. You wouldn't compare a seed to a fully grown tree and call the seed a failure. You'd understand that it's just at a different stage of growth. The more you embrace your own journey, the more peace you find. You stop needing to prove anything to anyone. You stop chasing validation. You start living with intention instead of pressure. You begin to define success on your own terms, not by how much you've achieved compared to others, but by how much you've grown, how true you've stayed to yourself, and how deeply you've lived. Embracing your own path means honoring your values, your passions, your pace. It means choosing fulfillment over comparison, joy over jealousy, gratitude over greed. It means believing that your life has meaning even if it doesn't mirror anyone else's, and that belief, that quiet confidence, becomes your strength. It keeps you grounded when the world tries to distract you. It reminds you that you are exactly where you need to be, becoming exactly who you're meant to become. There is beauty in every stage of your journey. The messy beginnings, the uncertain middles, the unexpected detours, they all have purpose. Comparison will tell you that you should be somewhere else, but your path is yours for a reason. Every challenge you face is shaping you. Every delay is teaching you. Every step you take is leading you somewhere important. Trust that. Trust yourself. You don't need to rush. You don't need to have it all figured out. You only need to stay present, stay faithful to your vision, and keep walking. And when others succeed, celebrate them, because their success doesn't diminish yours. There is enough space in this world for everyone to thrive. Someone else's light doesn't make yours dimmer. Let it inspire you, not make you feel small. When you stop comparing, you start connecting with yourself, with others, with the moment in front of you. You begin to experience real joy, not the fleeting kind that comes from achievement, but the lasting kind that comes from authenticity. You stop needing to be someone, and instead just be. That's where peace lives, that's where self-worth grows. That's where happiness becomes sustainable. So choose to let go of the constant need to measure up. Let go of the idea that you're behind. You're not. You're growing at your own pace. You're learning what you need to learn. You're unfolding in your own time, and that is more than enough. Embrace the beauty of your own path with all its twists and turns, and know that your journey is valid, valuable, and worthy of celebration. Exactly as it is. Inner strength is born in the darkest moments. It is not something that arrives fully formed in times of ease or comfort. Instead, it takes shape in silence, in struggle, and in solitude. When the lights go out, when the path disappears, when every ounce of certainty is stripped away, that asterisk is when strength begins to awaken. Not because you feel strong, but because you have no choice but to dig deeper than you ever thought you could. And somewhere in that depth, you find something unbreakable. It is easy to feel confident when everything is going well. When life is aligned, when your plans unfold as expected, and when support surrounds you, it's easy to believe in yourself. But real strength doesn't surface when life is easy. It reveals itself when things fall apart, when the future feels unknown, when your heart is shattered, your trust is broken, your hope feels distant. That's when your soul is forced to rise, to survive, to stretch beyond its limits. The darkest moments are not just painful, they are transformative. They strip away illusions. They challenge your beliefs. They force you to let go of the life you thought you needed and begin building something new from the wreckage. It's in those moments of complete vulnerability, when you cry, when you break, when you feel like giving up, that your true strength quietly stirs. It doesn't come with fireworks or applause. It comes in the form of one more breath, one more choice to get up, one more refusal to surrender. Pain is a brutal teacher, but it is also an honest one. It teaches you what matters. It teaches you what you're made of. It teaches you that you can endure far more than you ever believed possible. When you're in the darkness, it feels endless. It feels like no one could possibly understand what you're going through. But you are not alone in your suffering. And more importantly, you are not powerless within it. Your strength is being forged in that very place. When everything around you is uncertain, you start to learn to trust yourself. When the people you counted on are no longer there, you begin to find support within your own soul. When the answers aren't clear, you start asking better questions. These moments carve resilience into your bones, not the kind that wears a smile and pretends everything is fine, but the kind that holds your pain with grace and chooses to keep going anyway. Inner strength isn't loud, it's quiet determination. It's the decision to rise even with tears in your eyes. It's the ability to hold your head up, not because you're unafraid, but because you refuse to let fear define you. It's the courage to face another day, not knowing what it will bring, but choosing to show up with your whole heart anyway. The beauty of the dark moments is that they introduce you to a version of yourself you would have never met otherwise. A version who knows how to sit with grief, who understands the power of stillness, who learns to breathe even when it hurts. This version is not weak. This version is real, and the strength that comes from this kind of authenticity is something no one can take from you. When you emerge from a dark season, you don't come out the same, you carry scars. But those scars are not signs of defeat. They are reminders of survival. They are the marks of growth, of courage, of inner fire. And every scar tells a story of how you didn't give up, how you kept walking even when the path disappeared beneath your feet. That is where your strength is found, not in never falling, but in always rising. It's okay to feel broken. It's okay to not have the answers. Darkness is not a sign that you're failing. It's part of the journey. It is not the end, even if it feels like it. It is the space where healing begins, where clarity starts to form, and where strength begins to grow. You don't need to rush it. You don't need to be strong all the time. Sometimes just continuing to breathe is strength enough. Eventually, the darkness begins to lift. Slowly, quietly, light returns. Not because someone brought it to you, but because you carried it within you all along. It flickers like a small flame at first, but with each step, each breath, each act of courage, it grows brighter. And one day, you look back at everything you thought would break you, and you realize it built you instead. It shaped you into someone deeper, wiser, and more compassionate. So if you are in a dark place now, don't rush to escape it. Don't shame yourself for feeling lost. Sit with it, listen to it, learn from it. Know that you are not weak for hurting. You are human, and know that something strong, something powerful, something eternal is being born in you. Not in spite of the darkness, but asterisk because asterisk of it. You may not see it yet, but you are becoming. You are transforming, and the strength rising inside you, the quiet, persistent strength, is the kind that lasts, the kind that will carry you through anything, the kind that only the darkness could teach you. Love yourself enough to set boundaries, not because you are cruel or distant, but because your peace, your energy, and your well-being deserve protection. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with locks that you control. They are not about shutting people out, but about deciding who gets access to your time, your heart, and your mind. Setting boundaries is one of the purest forms of self-respect, and it begins when you realize that your needs, your feelings, and your values matter just as much as anyone else's. It's easy to feel guilty for saying no. Many people are raised to believe that being good means being available, agreeable, and accommodating at all times. But constantly giving of yourself while neglecting your own limits does not make you kind. It makes you exhausted. Self-love is not just about positive affirmations or treating yourself to nice things. It's about choosing what serves your highest good, even when it's uncomfortable. And sometimes that means having hard conversations, walking away from situations that drain you, or refusing to be someone's emotional dumping ground. People will only treat you the way you allow them to. If you continuously accept disrespect, overstepping, or inconsideration, it becomes a pattern, one that quietly chips away at your self-worth. Boundaries are how you interrupt that pattern. They are the lines you draw not out of anger, but out of clarity. They declare what is acceptable in your life and what is not. They say, I love myself enough to walk away from what harms me, even if I once thought I needed it. It's not easy to set boundaries, especially with those you care about. You might fear disappointing others or being seen as selfish, but honoring yourself is not selfish. It's essential. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot keep sacrificing your own emotional health for the sake of keeping the peace. Peace that requires you to constantly betray yourself is not peace, it's performance. And the longer you perform, the more disconnected you become from who you truly are. When you begin to set boundaries, it can feel foreign. You might feel resistance from others, especially those who benefited from your lack of them. That's okay. People who genuinely care about you will understand and respect your need for space, rest, or silence. Those who don't were never truly aligned with your well-being in the first place. Setting boundaries reveals who is truly for you and who is only around when you're convenient. Boundaries are not about control, they are about choice. You get to choose who and what you allow into your life. You get to choose how much of yourself you give. You get to choose how you respond to disrespect. That choice is your power, and claiming it is an act of love. Love for your time, love for your energy, love for your body, your mind, and your soul. It's not about cutting people off at the first sign of trouble. It's about knowing when a pattern is harming you and choosing to protect your peace. It's about recognizing that love without respect is not love, that connection without safety is not connection, and that presence without care is not presence. It's obligation. You deserve more than obligation. You deserve intention. Setting boundaries also deepens your relationship with yourself. It teaches you to listen to your intuition, to honor your gut feelings, and to act from a place of self-awareness. It helps you reconnect with your values, what you stand for, what you need, and what you will no longer tolerate. This self-knowledge becomes your compass, guiding you not only in your relationships with others, but in how you relate to yourself. It's not just about saying no to others. It's also about saying yes to yourself, yes to rest, yes to solitude, yes to joy without guilt, yes to protecting your dreams, your focus, your energy. Boundaries create space for you to breathe, to heal, to grow. They teach you that you are not responsible for fixing everyone, pleasing everyone, or carrying burdens that aren't yours. You are allowed to outgrow roles you once played. You are allowed to evolve, even if others don't understand. You are allowed to make choices that confuse people, so long as they bring you closer to your truth. And most of all, you are allowed to change the rules, because as you grow, your boundaries will too. What you once tolerated may no longer feel right, and that's a sign of progress, not coldness. There will be people who misunderstand your boundaries. Let them. There will be situations where you have to explain yourself less and stand your ground more. Do it anyway. Every time you choose your peace over people pleasing, your confidence strengthens. Every time you protect your energy, your self-love deepens, and with time, setting boundaries will no longer feel like a burden. It will feel like a natural expression of who you are. The truth is, you don't owe anyone unlimited access to you. You don't owe anyone your silence when your soul is screaming for change. You owe yourself honesty, integrity, and compassion. You owe yourself the right to walk away from anything that diminishes your light. So love yourself enough to set boundaries. Speak your truth with grace. Hold your line with compassion. Protect your peace fiercely, and remember, the people meant to walk with you will meet you where you are, not by pushing your boundaries, but by respecting them.